Hello, welcome to our, is it our fourth or fifth? Yeah, our fifth, I had to double check. Our fifth review for Image Month. Today we're reviewing Madman. This is published by Image Comics during their Image First um, publishing line, where they will publish like their popular series issue ones again, but for like $1. So it was a great idea to get people into like their more popular comic book series. Um, this character was originally published by Dark Horse, which I even have like a Dark Horse uh, Madman comic where it had a crossover with the big guy. The big guy being like a Frank Miller creation, which also had like a cartoon from the 2000s. I think it was called Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot, which was like the show was kind of like a parody of old Japanese mecha anime where you have like the big guy, which is obviously, well, to me he looks like a parody of like Tetsujin 28, and then obviously Rusty was a parody of what was his name, Astro Boy. Yeah, because like Frank Miller is a fan of Japanese stuff here. Yeah, I got it right here. It's a pretty cool comic book, but um, apparently it's the sixth Madman comic here. Let's see where they have like, yeah, special thanks for friendship and inspiration by Jeff Darrow, Frank Miller, Bruce Timm, Kevin Matchstick, and Johnny Comment. When does this get published? 1995. So before the TV show came out. Which if you haven't seen the Big Eye and Rusty the Boy Robot, it's a pretty cool cartoon. Yeah, there's a whole nationalistic feel to it because um, because I guess the big guy is supposed to be like a mascot for like American military or whatever. And there's even like an episode where they travel back in time during the revolution and they fight the British or something like that. Yeah, and there's also like 90s gross out like monsters and stuff like that. Because like the 90s, for some reason, for their children cartoons, had like horrific monsters in them. Like in the Godzilla show and like the Cyber Six show, you know, cartoons like that for whatever reason. So let's get on to this book review. It's created, written, and illustrated by Mike Allred. I don't know how to pronounce that, and colors by Laura Allred. So the comic book has this like 1950s like feel to it. The art is very cool, and you have very bright colors. The story is you have this character named Frank or Madman, who is in amnesiac. Fuck, I don't know if I pronounced it right. I was trying not to swear. Yeah, who was brought back to life by this character named Dr. Brofield, and who was this other doctor? Let me double check. Trying to find it here. Sorry, I read this earlier. Oh my gosh. I'm having a hard time trying to find it. Oh my god. He doesn't. Whatever. It's a guy. It's an older guy with red hair and a goatee, whose lab assistant is Dr. Gale Gale. Which I have no idea if it's supposed to be a guy or a girl. I'm assuming it's a guy, but like the name Gale kind of, I don't know. He's dressed kind of like the Invisible Man, or Doctor like sorry, Mr. Sorry, not Mr. Negative Man from Doom Patrol. Yeah, so like they're doing experiments on like Frank trying to restore his memory. he has this power where he can like see visions from the future. Any other powers than that, I don't know. They said like he's capable of uh, incredible feats of coordination, and they have him like with the paddle ball. What's that toy where it's like a paddle, but there's like a rubber ball attached to it? I can't remember. I should just Google it. Yeah, so like the comic book is he's hanging out with his girlfriend named Jo, um, who works for this PI guy, who's kind of like of a jerk to our boy here, Madman, whose hair changes color for like entire page, and then like turns back to like black. It turns red for one one page. Gosh dang it. And turns back, so I don't know what's going on. So most of the comic book is like Madman hanging out with his girlfriend until like some UFO crash lands in front of him, and like this alien comes out. He goes to chase it, finds some like pink gloop in the storm drain while chasing after the alien. Runs into some beatniks. The beatniks get hit by the pink gloop and turns them into weird mutants that are trying to kill our boy Madman, who's armed with this toy gun that shoots little discs. I think he called his gun the rocket disc gun. I can't remember. Like rocket was in the name. This comic book is very long for a single issue. Which is weird, because especially in the 90s, because in the 90s they start like after the 80s had like really long issues, but after the 80s they started to cut them down. But for a first issue, this is very long. So after that, like he goes back to, he encounters the alien again, managed to escape with the help of what were these two robot assistants, which are just floating balls with tiny arms. I forget. I think one's called Warren, the other one's called Marie or something like that. Yeah. And they talk with their hands, so they can't talk at all, but they can hear. Yeah, they help Madman escape from the alien. He visits the two scientists again. What was Dr. Flem? Oh, okay, that was his name. I'm guessing Flem is short for Fleming, or maybe it's just Dr. Flem. Right. He he goes back to Dr. Flem. Him and his assistant are trying to get into the UFO. Here you have like this junk pile of robots, and you see one that looks like Bender from Futurama, which didn't Futurama come out in like 1990, so that could be a coincidence. But you have another robot on the left hand side that looks just like the Mandalorian, or like Boba Fett from Star Wars. That could just be a coincidence. Let's look up actually. I have like, I'll look it up here. Futurama. When did it come out? Yeah, 1999. So it was just a coincidence then. Yeah, but there is a robot that does look like Bender from Futurama in here. I don't know. It's a pretty cool comic book. My one fear is that despite it taking place in the 1950s, not a lot of diversity, by the way. All the characters are white. There's like one zombie character, but like yeah, like all the characters are white. Not a lot of diversity here, except for like there's an alien at the end. But yeah, my fear is that like, cause this writer, I've read like a graphic novel of his where like a main character was like a drug was like a drug dealer slash drug addict, and like he also um, did the art for this comic book series of, it was like an X-Men team called X-Statix or something like that. It was basically, it had really cool art, but it was basically like a X-Men ripoff of Teen Titans. Like you even have a character that looks like Raven, and like, you know, there's a character that's kind of like the cyborg of the team. But like it had like two team members that were like but at the end of the graphic novel turned gay. They just magically turned gay. So I'm a little worried if I continue reading the comic book. It's gonna have lefty stuff in it, but like so far from reading this, it's pretty cool. The art's like really great. Like the Madman design is pretty cool. Though like he has this little like lightning bolt on the top, like on his forehead, and at some points it just looks like it's supposed to be like, you know, like a piece of hair, like a hairbang, but like other points it looks like it's drawn on, like it's part of the costume. Because if you look at like they have the graphic novels here at the back issues, and like you see volume 1, which the guy has the lightning bolt on his head, and like he doesn't have his hair, right? So it's like the mask is just like, it looks like the lightning bolt's like part of the mask, but like if you check the pages, it looks like it's like a piece of hair. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But yeah, like the dialogue is not the greatest, but because it's like 50s slang, right? But besides from that, the art looks amazing. The colors look amazing. You know, for a $1 comic book, there's a lot of content, and there's decent amount of action. There's some funny stuff, especially with the whole, like, you know, interaction with the beatniks, which beatniks were like the hippies of the 50s, for people who didn't know. If you ever saw the Goofy movie, they had like beatniks in that movie too. So I don't know, it looks pretty cool. And there's funny that there's an ad for like Skull Kickers on the back cover, because that's our next review, is going to be Skull Kickers Volume 2. By the way, this came out in 2010. By the way, this reprint of Madman issue 1. So if I were to give this rank, it's 7.5 out of 10. I'm definitely interested in picking up the graphic novels. I have yet to see the graphic novels in comic book stores, but if I do see them, I'm definitely going to pick them up. And if you want me to review the Madman and Big Guy crossover, leave a comment on the video. And if you like my stuff, like, comment, subscribe. Alright, peace.